So here we have a charging port, and right here is a port so you can plug it into a computer of some sort, so that way you can see, that way students can see like what's going on your screen and what buttons you're hitting and all that from where the so now we're going to turn on our calculator, which we would do so by hitting the on button in the corner, and our screen immediately lights up, and you can see that the screen is entirely in color, which is unsaid before, and it's entirely in color. And so first we're going to show you a little bit about their scratch pad. And their scratch pad is just like a regular calculator. You go onto it and you can type in your little math problem. So now that we have our scratch pad open, we're going to do like a random practice problem. So you can type in like 59 times 62 divided by 8, and you can get 1,829 over 4. And so that gives you the answer. And you can try even more complicated problems, like we have our trig functions right here under trig. Notice how it doesn't say sine, cosine, or any of them are listed here in the buttons. It's because all you have to do is hit the trig button and this entire menu comes up. And this is like one of the coolest features of this calculator, is that you can use the number pad where you can like go up and down, and you can use it like as a touch screen wheel, and you can wheel around your screen. So for our example, we're going to pick tangent. So what we're going to plug in is we're going to plug in to pi. Now as you can see, pi isn't a very obvious key function on this calculator as well. Well, right here down by the keyboard it says pi with a little arrow on it. This will open up another menu where you can plug in e, imaginary numbers, infinity, theta, and all different types of different variables you could use for functions. So we're going to plug in pi, and when we hit enter, it gives us 0. So that's enough about the calculator. Also in our scratch pad, there is, if you go up above the menu, you can go over to the graph. And here we have graphed 5x plus 6. And as you can see on the calculator, it graphed it in different colors. So how about we try and graph another equation? And how we would do that is we would hit the tab button, and f2 of x would pop up. So what we're going to plug in for f2 of x is we're going to plug in 9x squared plus 3x minus 5. When we hit enter, it's also going to graph this on top of our last line in a different color. And as you can see, it also lists what the equation of that function is. And you can do that, and you can use these functions all throughout your scratch pad. And that is one of like the normal calculator features. But now we're going to get into more of the highlight of using the TI-Nspire CX CAS. What you can do is you can create documents here on this calculator to use for like lessons, for notes, and all that. So we're going to make a new document. And with this new document, we're going to try and test out some of these new features. So here we have add calculator. So on here, we can use the calculator functions. So we're going to hit the menu button, and this menu will pop up. And with each one you select, a different menu is going to pop up. So we can take different actions or plug in different things. So if we go to algebra, we can plug in we can use the polynomial tools. And here we can find the roots of a polynomial, the real roots of the polynomial, the complex roots of a polynomial, and all these many different functions. All right, and we're going to use the algebra function. We're going to go back to our algebra function. And we are going to factor an equation. So we're going to use the equation x squared minus 6x plus 9. Where is this? And if we solve for this, and we ask this to factor, it will factor it out into x minus 3 squared. And that is, and it works just like a calculator, except it will record what you have, and you can refer to it in this document. Well, along with this document, you can create separate pages for this document, and you would do so by hitting the Control button and the Dock button, which is also your plus page button, and it will create a new tab up above here. And then you can use a different function. So we're going to use the graph function that it has, and you can plug in a graph. So since we just solved for that polynomial, why don't we plug in, what it factored out? So that was x minus 3. In parentheses, squared. We enter that, it's going to graph what we just had factored out. Another thing that we can do, and so it saves the graph and you can view it, and you can always go back to the previous page. So if you were to go and click it, you can look and be like, oh, hey, look, that's the problem we just did. And then you can go back, in theory. So now we're going to explore a few more features of this. Like we can use the geometry feature. And on the geometry feature, one of the things that you guys can do is when you go to the menu, you can you can use a shape and create different shapes, like a circle, triangle, rectangle, a polygon, a regular polygon, oh, they went away, an ellipses, a parabola, hyperbola, and all this fun stuff. So we're going to create a circle. And here you can use your central point, and you can expand as far out as you need. So we're going to stop right around here. We want to point here. Oh, no, we do not want to point there. We're going to create 2 circles with a point here. So now we have 2 circles. So then if we go to the menu, what we're going to do is we're going to create a line. We can get there. And we're not going to create just any line, we're going to create a segment in between the 2 centers of these circles. If it lets us. So we're going to use this point all the way to this point. If it lets me. And there you go, we have a line here. And another awesome thing you can do is, now that we have some shapes to work with, we can go ahead and we can use our actions, and we can take calculations. No, wait. Another thing you can do other than calculations, you can find the measurements of this. So we're going to, and then it gives us that we have 5 and 63 hundredths of a centimeter. And then you can highlight the different circles, and you can find the different areas of the circumference of these circles. So like this, since the segment is also the radius of the circle, your circumferences are going to be identical. So the circumferences of these circles are going to be 35 and 4/10. And there are a lot more fun, interesting functions you can do, and you can just keep creating more and more pages and test out all these different things, including taking notes on it, where you can use the keyboard below and you can type in your own notes. And so you can fill it up with different types of notes, and you can put in equations in here and all different types of knowledge that you would like to have stored in here. And finally, when you feel like you are done with this document, you can go to the document button, File, and you can save as and save this document onto the calculator, however you might name it. So we're going to save this document as test. And hit save. and it will save our document, so that way we can always refer to it when we go back to the original menu. And then finally, you're back at your regular home screen. And if you look, you can find that document under your documents under tests, and we can open it right back up. And there it is. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the TI-Nspire CX CAS, and I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon.